Welcome to Find Myself Free, the podcast. I'm Ellie Young, alcohol-free life coach, mom, and athlete. I'm dedicated to helping others change their relationship to alcohol by sharing my journey of transformation. Fascinated by my own capacity for change after decades of gray area drinking, I'm passionate about sharing what I've learned from neuroscience and positive psychology to help you break free from the drinking cycle and unlock your true potential. Hear my personal stories of triumph and struggle as I navigate raising two boys, finding myself after 40, building a business, and doing it all alcohol-free. From women's health and cycle syncing to fasting and biohacking, this podcast is your roadmap to a healthier, purpose-filled life that starts with changing your relationship to alcohol. It's time to embrace change, find balance, and create the life you were meant for. Welcome to Find Myself Free. Hey, everybody. I have a super cool guest for you today. Megan Eaton is a yoga teacher, massage therapist, and Ayurvedic health practitioner dedicated to guiding others toward holistic health and well-being. With over a decade of experience in the wellness industry, she integrates ancient healing traditions with movement and modern body work to support her clients in finding balance and vitality. She's now based in the South Bay. She owns and operates her own wellness practice, offering Ayurvedic consultations, therapeutic bodywork, and yoga instruction. She also mentors new yoga teachers, helping them refine their skills and develop confidence in their teaching. She is passionate about movement, self-care, and seasonal living, and she continues to explore new ways to help others reconnect with themselves and their natural rhythms. I think you guys are going to love this conversation. And now, on to the show. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Find Myself Free. I have an awesome guest for you today. Please welcome to the show Megan Eaton. She is a wellness practitioner, massage therapist, yoga teacher and mentor, and an Ayurvedic health consultant. And I take her class in the South Bay, and it's a phenomenal class. But I'm so excited to pick your brain all about Ayurveda. I have trouble saying that. Am I saying it right?
Thanks, Ellie. Yes,
Yeah.
Ayurveda. That's correct. Yeah, definitely.
So cool. Like, I have been curious about this. I just haven't had the bandwidth to explore it more in depth. So I would love if you could just start with, what is Ayurveda?
It's it's like such a deep question too,
Yeah.
right? I feel like you hear the word a lot going to yoga,
Yeah.
and what you're usually told is, oh, it's a sister science of yoga. And it is. It's the sister science of yoga. It's the health and wellness, or the medicinal side of yoga. You can't have yoga without Ayurveda, or Ayurveda without yoga. It's also the main form of medicine used in India. So it's just centuries and centuries old, which is really cool too. It's similar to holistic or functional medicine in that you're using diet, nutrition, herbs, but also lifestyle rituals and habits to aid in creating balance and health and wellness and getting rid of disease in the body. So it's
Wow.
a natural form of healing.
I love this. And I think this is kind of the way medicine is trending. I mean, I'm in school to become a functional nutrition practitioner, so this is definitely my lane. Um, but I think most women, too, especially as they hit their 40s, are kind of leaning towards this more homeopathic route. We're all a little bit jaded by the health industry and the current medicine system. Um, so I've been looking a little bit into it. So explain what the doshas are. Am I saying that right? Doshas?
Doshas, yeah.
Doshas.
It's Ayurveda is just a completely different language, and it is. It's Sanskrit. So,
Oh, cool.
um, we start with, I think the best way to explain the doshas is to start by sort of understanding that we are not separate from our environment. We are part of nature, and we embody all of the same qualities that the earth, the trees, the air we breathe has. So we're made up of five great elements, and those elements are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And those five elements are separated into what we call the doshas. And there are three of those. Vata is made up of air and ether. Ether is the hardest one to understand. People, you're nodding like
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what it is. Ether is space. So
Okay.
anything that can be filled.
Okay.
Um, when you think of ether, you kind of think of the mind stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
Outer space is kind of what I um sink it to.
Okay, and is this ether within ourselves? Space within
Yep.
ourselves? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Bodies and
Body,
mind?
mind, and spirit.
Okay.
Um, so that's Vata. Pitta is made up of fire and a little bit of water, but you're thinking more like an oily water. And Kapha is made up of earth and water.
Kapha with like an F? Kapha?
Kapha with a PH.
Oh, pH. Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Kapha.
And that one, what was that one again?
Kapha is earth and water.
Earth and water. Okay, I'm totally taking notes because I love this stuff. It has even though it has way more, like, science and history to it, it's a little bit like the astrology where it's like, because 'cause isn't there, like, quizzes? I see quizzes online where you're like, "Which dosha are you?" You know?
Take your dosha quiz and
Yeah.
find out which combination of the elements you are.
Yeah.
There's actually that's how I would take, do an Ayurvedic health consultation
Yeah.
is I don't wanna call it a quiz,
Right.
right? But the first few that I ever took sort of reminded me of, the magazines in high school where you'd circle
Yeah.
A, B, or C. Which one are you? Then you'd
Yeah.
read at the end to find out.
Yeah.
Um, but it is similar to that because these quizzes that you're taking or what we would ask in a health consultation are made up of series a number of questions, and those questions can vary really. Um, but what you're looking at is the physical and functional characteristics, long term and short term.
Okay.
So in the end, there's two conclusions that you're coming to. You're coming to your basic constitution, which think of it as your genetic makeup.
Okay.
You were born with the elements arranged in your body in a certain way. So some of us were born with more fire and air and a little less earth and water. Um, and others were born more dense and they're more grounded, contain more earth, a little heavier, more water, less air. And no two people are exactly the same.
Okay.
So when
Explain
you're
the elements, like, how would someone identify if they're, like, more fire, more earth?
the elements I think are the easiest things to describe, right?
Okay.
Like when you think of fire, what are the qualities that you think of that
Um,
describe a fire?
outgoing, a little more energetic. I know I'm a fire person in
When
general.
you think of like
Yeah.
fire, like if you were looking at an actual fire,
Yeah.
you wouldn't necessarily say the fire is outgoing or
Okay.
energetic, but
Right.
but like hot, right? Hot
Yeah.
and dry, and stable. So you're thinking qualities that show up hot and dry to describe fire. So if I were
Okay.
looking at you, hot, if I were seeing tones of red in
Oh, okay.
somebody's skin, they're probably a little more fiery or have a little more pitta in them. Um,
Oh, that's way different than what I was thinking. Okay.
but
So,
no, but there
yeah.
are the other qualities too, like the functional qualities that and functional characteristics too. Things like outgoing but outgoing, I think that one's a little more air, right? Because the qualities of air are mobile and fast and quick, right? So you think
Okay.
of an outgoing person. I could ramble on and on and on
Yeah.
about this and like go on tangents. You think of like an outgoing person who is quick in their speech, right? Talks faster, could ramble on and on and on and on and change topics or directions at the drop of a hat. Um,
And
when I
that's like
think of
air. Okay.
fiery, I'm thinking more like um,
Flammable?
a
Like
fiery personality would be a hotter personality, maybe even hot. And I don't want to say it's like all negative, right? But like quick to anger or
right.
judgment, um,
Okay.
hot-tempered or hot-headed. They could be a little more what is the I'm blanking on words.
Impulsive and like jump yeah. And so you're born with these elements. Some of it is genetic, but then
Mhm.
some of it is our environment, like our culture, and you can shift in and out of different doshas? You're not necessarily, like,
Right.
with some version of it? Okay.
Right. So you're born with the 5 elements. We're born with all 5 elements in us. We're not one dosha.
Okay.
We all have all 3, just a different percentage of them in our bodies. But like I said in the very beginning, the greatest cause of illness is forgetting our true selves as nature. So when we're
Okay.
trying to separate ourselves from the environment. So remembering that we are actually a part of the environment and everything that we take in through our 5 senses. So taste, sight, sound, touch, smell. We're gathering and taking in the qualities of everything around us. So therefore, your basic constitution or your initial constitution might be Pitta, Vata, Kapha. But if you're eating foods that are colder, or wetter or raw, you're taking in the qualities of more Vata and
Okay.
increasing that dosha within you. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, yeah, very cool. So let's talk about that then, like, what are the I guess the food, like, this is all driven by what we're eating, right? And how we integrate with nature in the way of food and what we're putting into our bodies.
I love that, that's the first thing everybody thinks about is the nutrition and diet side of it, and it is really tempting to think that it's about a certain diet or a certain supplement that can solve all of our problems,
Mhm.
um, but those are just aspects really of a greater prescription. So if we're not grounding when we feel untethered or calming when we feel anxious, um, stabilizing our noisy minds and bodies or cooling and resting when we feel burnt out,
Mhm.
then we actually won't be able to even digest the most perfectly tailored diet. We have to actually and really be honest with ourselves,
Ah,
surrender
is
to
that
this
yeah.
capacity of our bodies and spirits. So, yes, it's a lot about diet and nutrition and what you're eating, but it's also about what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're seeing, what you're hearing. All 5 senses affect
Yeah.
what you're taking in.
Ah,
Um,
this
I
is
love
so perfect
one of
because
my teachers this is just one of my favorite things is, people will ask, "Well, what is an Ayurvedic food or an Ayurvedic herb?" And an Ayurvedic food or an herb, it or a food and or an herb becomes Ayurvedic when you're using it as medicine to heal, as specifically as something. So, my teacher liked to say that, yes, we who can afford to, like, live in our nice apartments and go to the grocery store and buy our organic food and really eat or treat our doshas specifically, um, a slice of pizza or a cheeseburger or french fries might not really be Ayurvedic. for
Mhm.
us, right? But you could encounter a homeless person on the sidewalk who has absolutely nothing and can't afford to get by, and that piece of pizza is going to save his life.
Right.
Therefore, that becomes medicine to him, and in a sense, Ayurveda.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. I love this. A big focus of mine right now, mostly just because that's like the container that I'm in my schooling right now is gut health.
Mhm.
And I I see a lot of similarities with the way Ayurveda and the using food as medicine to heal. When you talk about the seasons, that is correlating with the actual seasons versus a woman's cycle. I'm curious how Ayurveda fits into a woman's cycle. Do we see that as a season? Creating your more Pitta, if maybe PMS is more the Pitta part. You know? Um,
It is. Um, when we talk about the seasons in Ayurveda, you're correct. We're talking about the spring, summer, winter, and fall, but we actually call them Vata season, Pitta season, and Kapha season because those certain seasons are embodying the qualities of those doshas.
so there's only
Um,
3 compared to 4 regular ones?
yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's start with Kapha because Kapha is the beginning. Kapha is late winter to early spring. Vata is spring and fall, actually.
Okay.
And Pitta is summer.
Okay, so Vata's kinda like the in between. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Very cool. So we are in a Kapha s season right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We're moving into a Kapha season. We're exiting. Well, did I say? I'm sorry. Did I say that Vata was spring? It is fall to early winter.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
Fall, early but no, it's alright, that's fine.
Yeah.
Fall to early winter. So we're
Yeah. And
in
then moving into Kapha, early spring.
okay, gotcha. Okay, early spring, gotcha. Interesting. Okay, so, it's funny talking with a lot of my clients this year about the seasons. Like, I haven't ever been as affected by a season as I was this year. And again, maybe it's just I'm getting older, I'm in perimenopause, but I really felt that like hibernating, wanting the need to like go inward and stay home and drink warm things and eat warm foods. Maybe it was all the rain we had, maybe it was the fires out here where everybody, I mean, the world stood still there for a week or 2 here in Southern California. And
Right.
to have all that going on, I think at the start of the year was really profoundly, uh, it made a huge impact on us emotionally. And
Mhm.
I kept thinking I was the only one at home, like hibernating. And then I realized everyone was like, no one was going out or doing anything because we were all just at home, shell shocked a little bit. Um, so yeah, I'd love for you to talk more about the seasons and how we can integrate with them.
I love that. I think that's so interesting that you were feeling and experiencing that too, 'cause it reminds me of animals a little bit, right? And kind of, clarifies exactly what I was saying, that we are nature, right? We
Mhm,
are animals, we are exactly like them, and they have that natural instinct to take care of themselves a certain way when they're being affected by certain things, and that's exactly what you were doing, and when we're undergoing stress, it's usually because we're out of sync with nature's natural rhythms, and in order to bring that back, you do need to bring in those qualities that are more grounding and warming and comforting.
mhm,
Um, so I think that was just your body's natural way of healing and fighting. It
yeah.
was that response to everything that was going on, and I think that's really cool that you experienced that too. Um, but going back to the seasons, I think, no understanding the qualities of the seasons helps you to sort of align and sync naturally with them.
Mhm.
Um, and then also understanding that in one season, you're accumulating certain qualities that need to be cleansed and flushed before you move into another season. Otherwise, they'll get aggravated. For instance, during Vata season, it's cold and dry and dark and gray. And our natural instinct is to hibernate. We want to be warm and cozy, and we eat soups and grounding foods, and we put on a little extra weight, right?
Mhm.
And those are all Kapha qualities.
Mhm.
And when you look at that, it's Kapha balancing out the Vata that we're in the moment.
Oh, okay.
But Kapha season comes after Vata season.
Okay.
So when winter's ending and we've accumulated all of these earth and water qualities, but we're moving into the season of earth and water, if we don't find a way to sort of digest those qualities or flush them or cleanse them or detox them,
Mhm.
they're going to become aggravated
Oh,
because now as we contain all these qualities, we're moving into a season that's just going to increase them. So,
ah,
moving
s
into Kapha
yeah.
season, you would want things that are lighter and drier in
Okay.
order to balance the heaviness of
Oh,
Kapha.
so syncing with the dosha season isn't not you're not embodying all those qualities, you're balancing them.
You're embodying the opposite
Opposite.
qualities,
Oh,
right? You think
wow,
of
okay.
balance, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have too much on one side and the other
Okay.
side gets heavy and light. You have to balance it out. So if you're going into Kapha season, you don't want to continue eating those warm grounding foods that are gonna increase Kapha.
Okay, so we're now heading into the Kapha season, which is earth and water. So
Yeah.
we now wanna counter how do we counter earth and water? What would that be?
So we're thinking, earth is heavy and grounding and dense. So you've probably been eating warmer foods or wearing warmer clothes, um, doing more fiery exercises to build that up, right? So if we're
Mhm.
moving into a season that is grounding, heavy, and also wet in nature, right?
Yeah,
You're thinking, at least not in California, but in a lot of climates, the snow is melting.
sure.
So the earth is getting soggier and wetter, making
What do
room
you
for that wettier, making room for that new growth. So you would want to bring in qualities of air and fire,
Okay,
which that one can be a little tricky because air sometimes pushes fire.
okay.
So even bringing those in, you wanna try and balance them out. When you think of air pushing fire, you think of a forest fire, right? So you don't
Yeah.
wanna dry it out too much. You wanna warm it up enough so that it's stable.
Okay, so what would be examples of nutrition or lifestyle that would fit that?
My answer for everybody is to go to your farmer's market, right?
Yeah,
Farmer's market is the best and easiest way to find foods that are in season and organic.
okay.
Um, so choosing foods that are fresh and ripe and new, trying to think what's actually in season right now as we move into
Yeah,
spring.
yeah.
Citrus fruits, uh, oranges and the not nectarines, it's the clementines,
Clementines, I'm with
the
you.
little ones
Yeah,
and the cuties.
yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of those and then leafy greens, um, squash and zucchini is usually pretty grounding, so we're moving out of that. Um Yeah, but going to your farmer's market and finding the local in season. But citrus fruits, leafy greens, those are all good things right now that I mean, some
Yeah.
of the best. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Well, and I've been meaning to go to our farmer's market. Actually, Hermosa's is on Friday, right? I don't know how good Hermosa's is, but I wanted to check that out. Um,
Hermosa's is good. I like Hermosa's. Redondo's is today. I might go
oh, is
there.
it? Oh, nice. Okay. So what about like gut health and immunity? Like, what are some of the kind of the core tenets of Ayurveda with that kind of stuff?
In Ayurveda, we believe that all disease and illness starts in the gut.
Yes.
In the West, I feel like we have a tendency to treat symptoms.
Yeah.
And in Ayurveda, you want to treat the root cause of the disease. And it all starts in the gut. So it starts by changing, even if you're not changing your diet to eat with your dosha, just starting to eat simpler foods,
Mhm.
things that are gentler and easier to digest. Um, when I do my cleanses, I make a lot of dal or khichdi. Even oatmeal is
What
really good and simple.
what is dal? When you said that in yoga the other day, I literally was like, "What's dal and khichdi?" I looked them both up, but I kind of forgot what they are.
They're really similar, to be honest. Khichdi is an Ayurvedic dish. It's like a stew. It's yellow mung dal, or it could be made with different lentils. Typically made with mung dal mixed with rice and digestive spices. So your cumins, your corianders, turmeric. I put
It
mustard seed in mine.
What is mandal? I don't even know what that is.
Mung dal. It's like little
Mung.
yellow lentils.
Okay.
And they're softer than, like, your green lentils or your red lentils, so they're really easy to digest. If you try to boil them, sometimes they might get really mushy.
Okay.
Yeah, and then dal is really similar, but it's the mung dal or the yellow dal or lentils pureed into a soup,
Okay.
and you can serve it over rice.
Is Ayurvedic cleanse, is it all, plant-based?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
A heavy focus on lentils. I love
I
lentils.
know, I know.
They're so great, high in
Talk
fiber,
about,
high
like
in protein. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about khichdi too. It's a complete meal. It has everything you need, your protein, your carbs. It
Yeah.
has all 6 of the Ayurvedic tastes, so sweet, salty, sour, pungent, and astringent in
Ooh,
that one
okay, talk
pot.
more about
Yeah.
that. There's 6,
6 tastes.
tastes. Oh,
Yeah.
they do focus on flavor. That's what I love about this is
Yeah.
people think that, like, anything healthy or anything kinda holistic, that it's gonna be like granola, like, tastes like cardboard, and it's like, couldn't be more opposite. Like, when you cook with these spices,
Yeah.
it's so much flavor. It's so
Mhm.
delicious. So
Mhm.
what are the 6 tastes of Ayurvedic?
Sweet, sour, salty, pungent, astringent, and bitter.
Pungent. So that means it's
Pungent.
ooh, like, almost like a pickled, like, fermented? Is that what pungent would be, or just means strong smelling, like
Um, Pungent is like the spicy one.
okay.
Yeah.
Astringent. I don't even think I
Is
know.
like drier.
Okay.
Think of like when I think of astringent, I think of a really unripe banana that
Okay.
it's like
Yeah, but it's
like
also
ta
really good for your gut health, and it's yeah.
Yeah, well,
Sometimes
having I mean, your best meals are gonna have all 6 tastes.
okay, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I know my other question about an Ayurvedic kitchen. So if someone wanted to start leaning into this, what would be, like, the basic spice kit that you would want to have for your
Um,
Ayurvedic kitchen? Yeah. I'm asking for
I
a friend. I
use
mean, myself, who wants to buy all these spices. Yeah.
I use turmeric every single day, cardamom, coriander, cumin, ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg.
Yeah.
What else is in my kitchen right now? Um, fennel. Fennel's great. There's a really great tridoshic tea. We just call it CCF tea, but it's cumin, coriander, and fennel, and it's the whole seeds. And you would
Ooh,
steep the seeds and drink it warm or at room temperature, and it's good for all doshas. This is a cooling, grounding effect. It's really nice.
what's it called? You called it CS
We just call it CCF, and it's
CC.
short for cumin, coriander, and fennel.
Okay. Now coriander's the seed of, oh my gosh, what is it? Cilantro? Is that right? Is coriander the seed of cilantro?
I'm not exactly sure.
I feel like it is. I might have that wrong. I'll fact check that. But, and so do you believe that, these herbs have to, I mean, these spices have to be, like, super fresh? Like, I just read the other day, like, if your spice cabinet's been sitting there since, like, you got married and you ordered the, like, spice set and you're like, "Oh, I haven't used some of these." Turmeric, I buy a lot of. I use a lot of turmeric, I use a lot of cumin, I use a lot of ginger, but some of the other ones have probably been in there a while.
And they're, like, starting to get hard, and
Yes.
you have to, like,
Yeah, and they're
really
like,
hit the
"Ugh, could they
bottle
get
to get them out.
moldy?" Yeah.
Um, yes. Yes, I believe the fresher, the better. In Ayurveda, we believe that everything has prana. Prana is your life force energy, and we talk about it a lot as our breath too, right? And if we have prana, everything around us that's living also has prana. And the older it gets, the less life force energy it has too. And whatever you're consuming or putting in your body, you're taking on the qualities of
Mhm,
that. So if you're eating food that's been aged or is a little too old, if you're eating frozen foods, you've also dulled the prana. It's
mm,
been in there a long time, it's not fresh anymore. Um, if you're microwaving your food, even if you're reheating it, I
yeah,
mean, although,
yeah,
the economy,
yeah,
we have to eat leftovers now,
right. Yeah,
but, try not to let your leftovers sit for too long and try
okay,
not to reheat them more than one time. And if you can, choose the stovetop over the microwave
okay,
because you're zapping all of that prana and energy out of it. Um, the way you cook your food too, what you're doing when you're in this is another really interesting thing.
yeah.
The guidelines for healthy eating. Um, how you eat your food or how you take your food actually cures 90% of digestive issues. The other 10% is cured by what you're eating.
Oh, so, like, how you chew, how you
Mhm. Mhm.
mindfully eat. Okay.
Yeah. There was an experiment done, I think I'm not sure when, and I've actually heard of this experiment done a few different ways. The person who told it to me last said it was cocktails that was made, so we'll just use mocktails.
Okay.
Right, and they do 2 groups making the exact same recipe. One group is in a really good mood and they're happy, and the other group is not in a good mood. They're distracted, they have other thoughts going on, and then there's a blind taste test. And the recipe that always tastes the best is the one that's made by the people that were happier and in a good mood when they were making it. So, even when you're going into your kitchen, paying attention to if the TV's on, what's on it, right? Maybe just turn it off. If you're listening to music, is that music sattvic? Or when I say sattvic, I mean peaceful or calming, or is it causing you more
Yeah.
distraction in your mind or anxiety in your body? If you're having conversations, are those conversations happy and healthy? Or are you throwing your spices into your food while you're fighting with somebody?
Mm,
So even the way we're what we're doing when we're in the kitchen, we're putting that energy into the food that we're creating. I've always noticed that the food I make for other people usually tastes better than the food I make just for myself when I'm at home
Sure.
because I'm putting a lot of love and care and intention into it being good for them.
Yeah.
Where I get home at night and sometimes I'm tired and I'm like, "This will do."
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, this is such an interesting point. I've been thinking a lot about this because as I've veered away from eating to just be skinny in my
Mhm.
youth, where I was literally just like, how little can I eat? What is like the cheats where I can like be skinny, but I was always trying to look for like these products that were like sugar free, fat free, carb free. Like we were all products of that marketing experiment,
I
right?
have been there.
Yeah, that wreaked havoc on our systems and gave us all bloating and gas, and we were like, "But it's sugar-free and carb-free," you know?
Mhm.
Um, and I never thought about nutrients and what my body actually needed. I never correlated it to my cycle, and so this shift that I've had in my 40s about nourishing my body. There's no dieting anymore. It's literally like, what does my body need? What did my body thrive on? And for me, when I'm cooking from that place and I'm cooking for my kids from that place, like selecting things based on like, "Ooh, my body needs this right now," it makes it not only does it taste better, there's like a placebo effect of it, like, "This is gonna boost my immunity. This is gonna balance my hormones," and I believe it, and so it works even better for me in my body. And it makes me feel better as a mom cooking like that for my kids because 'cause I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm doing the right thing."
I love that. I love all of that.
Yeah.
I totally get it, and I totally relate too. I mean, in my 20s, I don't even know if you remember this, the Special K diet.
Yep.
I ate Special K cereal for every single meal, and I was like, "I look the best I ever had." Well, of course I'm gonna be skinny. All I'm eating is raw cereal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I wasn't healthy
Yeah.
by any means, and I too have done the thing where I'm like, "Okay, salads. Salads are the healthy choice, right?
Yeah.
Fruits and vegetables are the healthy choice. Raw food or juices are the healthy choice." And we have these ideas of this is healthy food and this is not healthy food. Really what is healthy is it varies from person to person.
Mhm.
Your raw salad could cause me gas
Yeah.
because I don't need a lot of raw fruits and vegetables. I have a lot of air in me already, right?
Yeah.
I need heavier grounding food. And it's been a really long time since I've eaten or changed my diet specifically to lose weight or look a certain way. I don't own a scale. So
Yeah.
I can't really say like Ayurveda is making me look a
Yeah.
specific way, but I do know when I am eating to nourish my body, I feel a specific way. And I can see it in my skin and my hair and my nails
Mhm.
and little things like that. And I can see it in my mood and my energy
Yeah.
and different levels like that too.
Yeah. I know a lot of women I work with, I mean, for one, we're working on alcohol and kinda shifting out of this place of self-medicating, and a lot of women start to lean on sugar and carbohydrates more because it's comforting. It's at the end of the
Mhm.
day, it's another form of self-medicating, and trying to summon the energy to, like, cook a really healthy meal when you're in this place of, like, I'm trying not to drink, and I need to nourish myself, and I really just wanna, like, eat the pizza, eat the french fries, and I did that in my early sobriety, I probably did that for like 2 years. I was like, "I've already did this big thing of, like, cutting out wine, and now I'm just gonna let myself have this thing."
Let me have this one
Yeah,
vice.
and it took time for me to unwind from that. Granted, I had a lot of feedback from my body in my early 40s going, "This doesn't work for you anymore. You need to, like,
Mhm.
make some changes," and but I know it's a process for women. I know this information, it doesn't always lead to transformation. Like, knowing this stuff doesn't necessarily help you make these behavior changes and to start, like, going to the farmer's market and, like, loving your food and making time to cook and meal prepping. It's a commitment, and it's a prioritization that most women aren't doing for themselves. Maybe they do it for their families and their kids, but doing it for themselves is something that's, like, it feels indulgent, right? How do we integrate Ayurveda in a place for these women who are kinda coming from this place of, like, stress and burnout and, you know.
That's something I was thinking about, earlier before coming on here is Ayurveda is, in my opinion, one of the simplest and at the same time most challenging
Yeah.
ways of healing because ultimately it's a science of responsibility and self-discipline and accountability, right?
Mhm.
As a health consultant or I'm back in school again studying clinical, um, as a practitioner of Ayurveda, I can give you these recommendations. I
Mhm.
can tell you this is going to help you balance this, but ultimately you have to want it.
Yeah,
I can't stand over you and tell you or make sure you're doing your yoga this way and you're taking this before you go to sleep and you're doing this every single morning and you're only eating these foods because
yeah.
that's just going to balance you right now. I think it has to be something that you really want
Mhm.
and you're ready for. And I think once you start to get into the routines and the habits and you see the changes and feel the differences, mm, then you start to create these patterns that allow it to become easier.
Mhm.
I think the thing that I can say is just take the step,
Yeah.
right? Reach out to your Ayurvedic local Ayurvedic practitioner, do the
Mhm.
cleanse.
Yeah.
The great kickstart, right? I have clients that knew nothing about Ayurveda and signed up to do a cleanse with me, and now they've changed the way they live and they're creating new lifestyles and habits and just adding in new
Yeah.
things every day, and it's really cool
Yeah, that's
watching.
why I love it so much. I mean, not only does it align with functional nutrition and medicine, but it is about tuning in
Mhm,
to our bodies and what we need, and not it's not about depriving yourself, which is where most women's food relationship stems from, is this
mhm,
place of, like, less and your and a lot of shame, like, "I'm doing this diet because I don't like what I am," I wanna
mhm.
change my body, I wanna change something about myself, and so the energy is always coming from this place of, like, yuck, it's
Yeah.
depleting, it's draining, and whether it's cycle syncing, that's another thing that I coach in my practice is, syncing with your cycle, and I would love to marry we should collaborate on that, an Ayurvedic cycle syncing meal plan where it's like, what are
Oh,
the meals
fun, yeah.
of your menstruation, like,
Mhm.
I know there's a lot of foods that are recommended, but how do we even add the other layer of Ayurvedic? Because the follicular phase, the ovulation phase, the late luteal phase, that would be really cool. Let's do that. Uh,
Yeah, and I'm my guess too is all of those are related to different elements, so they're different doshas that would need to be balanced, so it'd be really particular. It
yeah,
would
and
be
again,
really
it
cool.
takes this direction and the energy out of, like, depriving yourself and into this place of, like, I'm truly nourishing and aligning and working with my environment, working with my body. Um,
Yeah.
that's so cool. I love that stuff.
Coming back to you saying depriving yourself too, when I working with my patients, one of the things I tell them all the time too is it's baby steps.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do as your practitioner is take all of the joy out of your life and deprive you of everything that you loved. Um, instead I want to add things in that will be beneficial. So none of my recommendations when I'm working with patients are don't eat that and don't do that. Mine are if you're going to eat that, add some of this.
Balance.
If
Yeah.
you're going to do that, maybe try it this way. Then you're balancing out that hot sauce that you love on your taco with a little bit of sour cream to cool you down.
Okay.
You're not giving it up. I'm not trying to usually what's causing an imbalance is the thing that you love the most,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
don't wanna take that away from you either.
Yeah. I know it's kind of
And
like,
why are we living?
yeah. I mean, we talk about the crowd out philosophy too. I do a detox for my clients as well. And it again, I try and steer away from this idea of deprivation, and it is more about nourishing. Like, what are we
Yeah.
adding to our gut health? What are we adding, omega-3 healthy fats to calm inflammation in our body and adding antioxidants to, fight free radicals. So it's the same kind of cool concepts. I would love to like put a whole little Ayurvedic spin on it because again,
Yeah, very cool.
it intrigues people. I don't know why I keep going back to astrology, but people love to, like, be like, "Ooh, I'm that person,"
Mhm.
you know?
Right?
And
Yeah.
how does it and so to see how the doshas, like, align with you and how you need to,
Mhm.
like, balance that is a really fun way to integrate nutrition and health. Yeah, I just think it's super cool, and it needs its moment, and I know it kinda has more of a moment in the big picture online and stuff, but, making it more common knowledge, I think would be really cool.
Yeah, recognizable, especially in the West, where I feel a lot of professionals in the medical field or the wellness industry, they wanna use the knowledge of Ayurveda, but the term Ayurveda to them is still a little woo-woo, like,
Yeah,
"Oh, well, we can't really say that you're a doctor
right,
because what you're doing is magic, but it's
right,
working, so
right,
we're
right.
gonna use it."
Yeah, I know, and I think one of the arguments against it at one point, or it might even still be going on, is, like, there's not enough studies about, like, curcumin, even though it's been used for, like, centuries to,
I
like, calm
it's like,
inflammation.
how much more studies do you
Yeah,
want?
yeah, yeah, and it's silly, and then it's like and now in my field, they're saying, "Well, now it's not being absorbed in your body. You can take all these amazing turmeric supplements, but if it's a supplement, your body might not be uptaking it. When you eat it more as like the spice, your body's
Mhm,
much more likely to absorb it.
mhm,
And so now all the supplements of curcumin are now being liposomal. So they're pairing it with these things like an omega-3, like a fish oil, so that your body actually absorbs it, which I think is really cool. But I also love one of my instructors told me that when you're taking supplements, they're amazing, they're great, but they're designed to be supplementing,
mhm,
that you're not getting it in your food, so you're supplementing with this thing. And that when
mhm,
you eat it as a food, it actually takes roots in your gut. It stays, it becomes a local
mhm, mhm.
versus a supplement or like a probiotic that you might be taking is kind of more like a tourist. It'll be there, it'll be beneficial for a moment, but then it moves out. It doesn't take roots the way like a real food would.
Yeah, and that's similar to treating the symptoms versus the root cause of the illness
Yeah,
too, right? You have acne, so I'll give you this cream
yeah,
and it'll go away on my skin, but it's still there
yeah,
until
yeah,
you find that way to balance it. Yeah.
yeah. I have a funny story. My son, he went away for a week, ski week, and we didn't go with him. He was traveling with another family and a bunch of teenage boys. And it was a big departure from how we normally live at home and bedtimes and the food. And like I give him tons of supplements and all sorts of things. He also has ADHD. So we do a lot of like homeopathic, kind of nootropic and adaptogen kind of stuff for him to help him.
Mhm.
But this week was like, of course, his dream. He was like eating whatever he wanted, staying up late, and tons of screen time, like way more screen time than he's ever allowed at home. Like he had an all-time high. He got home and he was a shit show. Like and for me, I'm like, it's his gut health. Like, especially because he's ADHD, he doesn't make enough dopamine, and a bunch of the dopamine's
Mhm.
created in the gut, serotonin's created in the gut, and he was like withdrawing from junk food and screen time. And it's taken us like a week and a half. He was getting in trouble at school when he came back, like so much stuff.
So out of character, right?
And yeah, and we had to build back his gut health while he was home. And I was like bone broth and lots of antioxidants, lots of fish oil. Like we were doing like I did like a full cleanse for him, trying to get him back. But it was so noticeable. And I don't think people recognize that about themselves sometimes, you know? They'll go on this trip and they'll come back and be like, "Why am I depressed? Why am I, off?" And it's like, "Well,
Mhm.
your gut health has been a disaster for the last week." So
Yeah, in Ayurveda too, right? You said he was skiing for the
yeah.
week, right? So he's going drastically from one climate to another,
Mhm.
right? So he's going from these qualities that he'd been taking on to completely different qualities that are gonna shift and halt and freeze and stop and
Oh, wow.
right? So they're gonna cause different things inside of him, because now he's taking in a different environment.
Wow. Yeah, it's so interesting how much thinking of it like, yeah, we are part of our environments and our nature. It's a really cool
Mhm.
way to think about things.
Yeah.
Well, Megan, I have loved this conversation. Where can people find you? I know you're doing a cleanse. Why don't you tell us where we can find you and a little bit about your cleanse?
Um, Usually, social media wise, you can find me on Instagram. I'm bodywork. Do you want me to say it? Are you gonna write it? Or
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Just say it out loud, and it'll also be in the show notes for people to find you.
it's bodywork underscore by underscore me. Um, so that's Instagram. You can also find me at a few of the studios in the South Bay where I teach. If you want me to drop some names, Soul
Sure.
Seek, 423 Yoga, and Love Life.
Yeah. Her class is
um,
great. If anyone local, her class was one of my faves. It's always a treat when I see you on the schedule. So love your yoga class too.
Thank you so much. I love that.
Mhm.
Again, I do have an Ayurvedic cleanse coming up. Unfortunately, we're getting really close to the closing for sign up for this one. Sign up actually closes on tomorrow, Friday. This spring cleanse that we're doing starts on Monday, and it's a 6-day seasonal cleanse as we're moving out of, like I said, Vata season and into Kapha season. So it's a gentle rest and reset for the gut and digestive system. Um, I do this cleanse twice a year. So the next one will be most likely at the beginning of October and 6 days. Every cleanse includes 3 meals a day, oatmeal, dal, and khichdi for the 6 days, herbs that you'll take, oils that you'll use. So you'll be doing some self massage, or we call it abhyanga. Um, and then a flush or like full on cleanse on the
Okay.
last day, castor oil flush.
Oh, you ingest castor oil?
Yeah, it's the
Oh
fun
boy.
day. It's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. You've spent 5 days prior leading up to this
Yeah.
moment, so you're clean already. And
Yeah.
then, and it also includes, this is a perk. I'm a massage therapist, and I also practice Ayurvedic style massage called Abhyanga, so you get a massage that week too. And an Abhyanga massage is pacifying, especially for Vata dosha. but balances all the doshas. It calms the nervous system and increases circulation. It's also really detoxifying for the body.
That is so cool. I love this idea. Ambianga. Ambianga? Did I say that
I
right?
I can spell it for you. Now I'm like, can I spell it off the top of my head? ABY.
Yeah,
You know what? I could spell it off the top of my
that's
head, but now I'm gonna type it in and
that's
make sure I'm
fine.
spelling it right.
Yeah. No, that's really cool, and a cleanse with a massage at the end, that is fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
very curious, and I'm curious, so I think all of this is gluten-free. Is oatmeal gluten-free? I have Hashimoto, so I'm gluten-free and dairy-free, and I'm just curious for any of my listeners who might also be that.
It's gluten-free. It is meat-free. So
Meat-free?
it's vegetarian, gluten-free. Um, Technically, it's not dairy-free because I do cook a lot with ghee,
Okay,
but if you couldn't have ghee for some reason, there's definitely ways that I could substitute and change that
okay.
part of the meal. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, in my experience, ghee is usually well tolerated with people with, a lot because no lactose in ghee.
No, yeah, it's tolerated for people that don't do dairy for
Yeah,
lactose reasons, but if you're vegan
yeah,
and you don't do dairy
right,
for moral, ethical reasons,
sure.
then I would be happy to substitute.
Ah, okay. This is so cool, you guys. So go check her out at bodywork_by_me. And is that where they sign up for the cleanse? Can they find your links through
To
that?
sign up for the cleanse, there's on my Instagram, there is a link to my website. Um, but once you get on there, you would just message me. The only way to sign up for the cleanse is through an email or messaging me through my website.
Okay, so just DM you at your Instagram. So if you're local,
Yeah, that's
DM
perfect.
her. This is a perfect time to start a cleanse. Um, Thank you so much, Megan. I honestly could talk to you all day about this. I love
I
it.
know I could go on and on.
I would love to like collaborate around a
I
like
was
a
gonna say,
long
let's get on board.
Ayurvedic cycle syncing, and it would just be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I would love that too. Let's
Yeah.
chat again.
Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody, go check out Megan and thanks so much. And I hope to see you in a yoga studio soon.
All right. Thanks, Ellie.
Hey, you've just listened to an episode of Find Myself Free. And if some part of this left you wanting more, if your curiosity has been piqued and your intuition is telling you, I'm ready for more, then check out my coaching offers at findmyselffree.com. I have the Brave course to help you break free from booze. And I designed this course with the exact lessons that led to my transformation. I also have the balance challenge for those ready to learn the art of cycle syncing to balance their hormones. If you're looking for additional support and to take either of these programs to the next level, I also offer one-on-one coaching. Now, I worked with a coach for 4 months at the start of my alcohol free journey, and it made all the difference. Being able to talk to someone who knew what I was going through and could help me navigate my new world gave me a foundation of support I could build on. And it's a big reason why I'm a coach today. I want to help others find their freedom and level up their health. If this sounds good to you, connect with me at findmyselffree.com and set up a call. Listen to your intuition that is telling you you were meant for more. I am with you. You got this.